offensive firepower, a lot of offensive stars in this game, but this is a defensive matchup. This is going to be a rock fight defensively between these two teams, which means the matchup that everybody has to keep an eye on is that defense anchored by Draymond Green on the Warriors side and the defense anchored by Ivica Zubac on that Clippers side. That Warriors team has been a top 5 defense ever since they got Jimmy Butler there, and that is why Draymond Green is looking at a Defensive Player of the Year potential for the when this season is over. Zubac, on the other hand, is anchoring a team that is the second best half-court defense in the league. Last time he played the Warriors, I know Jimmy Butler wasn't there, he had 5 blocks. So yes, there's going to be a lot of star power offensively, but this game is going to be defensive tug of war between these two teams.
And let's not sleep on Zubac. Since March 1st, he's averaging a double-double, 20 points and 12.5 rebounds per game. All right, let's talk about keys to the game for both squads. Let's start with the Warriors.
The Warriors, now we can talk that offensive star power. The Warriors is about Stephen Curry. I know there's some things worrying him about that thumb and that injury with the thumb, but this guy is playing at a high level when his back against the wall. Look at what he did, 52, 37, 36 against that Nuggets, Grizzlies, Lakers trio whenever his back was against the wall. This is the time for Stephen Curry to show up and lead this team because they are going to try to do whatever they can to slow him down. On the Clippers side, this is about Kawhi Leonard and what he can do against Jimmy Butler. How can he be defensively a nag to Jimmy Butler? And if anybody on that Warriors team can stop Kawhi, over the last 2 months, he's been averaging more than 25 points, looking like prime Kawhi Leonard. Last time he was in a high-pressure situation against that Warriors team, he was holding up the Finals MVP trophy. This is about Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, and overall, I cannot wait for this game. This is a Game 7 level game before the playoffs start. I am so excited for this game. This is wings, pizza on the couch. Do not disturb basketball.
I'm with you. Steph Curry says the same thing, treating it like a Game 7. By the way, you can see the Clippers Warriors right here on ESPN, 3:30 Eastern. That is David Dennis Jr.
Damn, this is a hard one. This is a really, really, really hard question. I'm going to tell you LeBron James. I'm going to tell you LeBron James. I mean, I'm talking about better. You know, he is 40. He is in his 22nd season. Even though his game doesn't provide that indication, you never know when Father Time hits you. It doesn't creep on you. It succumbs. I mean, it just shows up, bam, and hits you. LeBron James, obviously, I think this is the answer to that question. We look at Steph Curry, even though he's 37 himself, and time runs out, there's nothing in his game that tells you that either. But I just think with LeBron James, because he's older and because we're looking at a Laker team, we're thinking about Luka Doncic being the future, Brian. Obviously, he hasn't had a great season by any stretch of the imagination, but primarily because he's missed so many games. I think there will be a better version of Luka Doncic in the future, more so than it is this year. But we can't take for granted the years that LeBron James has left on his resume. And so because of that, that's why I think the answer, I mean, it is a hard question because I think we need them both. But if you want to sit up there and say whose deep playoff run would be better for the NBA, if LeBron made a deep playoff run at this stage in his career, considering the fact it's also in Tinseltown as well, I think those elements come into play, and that's why he would be the answer to this question.
Wendy.
Joe, as Stephen A. would say, let me be very, very clear. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are winning the West. I believe they are the best team. So before we discuss that, I want to get that very clear. All right. Who would it be more amazing for to get their 5th championship? Steph or LeBron? Considering what that would mean and what that would mean for fans and what it would mean for the league, I think it's probably LeBron when it comes to what's best for the league. Having said that, as I have continued to watch, I think Steph's got the better chance. And I know it's easy to say that the morning after we see them go into LA and win. Stephen A., we cannot ignore that this Warriors team is 19-2 now with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry playing together.
After the guarantee from Draymond. After the guarantee from Draymond.
I got to tell you, I mean, like, look, the problem with Draymond is he says a lot of stuff, and some of it is just ridiculous. But I have to respect that he told Malika Andrews in an interview that ran yesterday on NBA Today. He said it reminded him of this moment in 2022 when all of a sudden he just looked around and said, this team can win. This team can win the whole thing. And he canceled his June plans. He'd already made plans in June of 22 and he canceled them. This team, as Steph said, was in 11th place. And here's something else I just want to point out. We forget it because we're seeing the Warriors every night. The Warriors were trying to trade for Kevin Durant. They had all their eggs in the Kevin Durant basket. They were trying all kinds of elaborate moves. They were going to spring it on him. And then when that happened, Durant was like, hold up. Then they pivoted to Jimmy Butler. And the truth is, they just had a better package to offer than the Suns. He didn't want Jimmy Butler, but Butler was plan B. So while we can praise Golden State for how this has worked out, just keep in mind, not even they could have foreseen exactly how this fell. But they're 19-2 with those guys playing together. With this starting lineup, and if you look at what Steve Kerr has had to do this year, if you go back and look at October and how he was playing and the way they were playing in January, the journey that he has been on as a coach to find this starting lineup has been as challenging as anything he's ever seen in his coaching career. But the lineup that they have now in April, which is their big three, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, and Steph Curry, with those two young wings, Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody, Stephen A., they're 13-0. They're 13-0, and they went into the Lakers last night where they took a haymaker from LeBron, who had his best offensive game since that injury. They took a haymaker from Austin Reeves, who had a 20-point fourth quarter. They took a haymaker from Rui Hachimura, who is such a difference maker when he gets things going for the Lakers, and they survived it because this team has got something cooking. So I can look at you and say, I think the world over, where all the Laker fans are, to have Luka fall into their lap and to set this up, this would be better for the league. Well, but I can't tell you that I think that's the way it's going to go.
Neither am I. I agree with you. I echo those sentiments, no doubt about that. But let's call it like it is. There's a few weeks ago, we were talking this way about the Los Angeles Lakers. Do you know why, Wendy? It was because they were one of, if not the elite defense in the game over an 8-week stretch. We looked at the Los Angeles Lakers. We said, oh, damn, we didn't do, Luka's going to be who he can be offensively. LeBron is defined Father Time doing what he's doing. We've seen Austin Reeves elevate. We've seen contributions defensively from the Vanderbilts of the world, the Dorian Finney-Smiths of the world, et cetera, et cetera. And we looked at the Lakers' defense and we said, damn, especially when they went into Denver and beat Denver and really beat them convincingly, we gave them props. But ever since then, if you look at the Lakers, right, particularly since LeBron James has returned to the lineup, they're over 7 games, they're 3-4 record. Their defensive rating, 27th. Fast break defense, 28th. Field goal percentage defense, 26th. 3-point percentage defense, 27th. We've looked at the Los Angeles Lakers defense and we said, where the hell have these guys gone? And that's what the real problem is here. Certainly Luka needs to play better. We understand that. But who believes that Luka is going to fold come playoff time?
No.
We know better because we've seen better from him and we know he has the capability to get to that place. The problem with them is that defensively,